And joining me now, Walter Isaacson, who is part of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine trial. He is the author of The Codebreaker, Jennifer Doudna, Gene Editing and the Future of the Human Race, to be published in March. The next great big book from Walter Isaacson after everything else you've done. Walter, first, how are you feeling? Any side effects? I know you don't know whether you got the placebo or the vaccine.
Oh, no side effects at all. And clearly, they've had 44,000 people go through this trial, half of them getting the real vaccine, and there's been no side effects. There's no danger in these vaccines, especially the one that Pfizer and Moderna are doing, which don't even use parts of the real virus as a vaccine, the way our measles and mumps and polio do. It's simply a piece of RNA that tells your own cells to create a spike protein. So if you get hit by coronavirus, it knows how to use antibodies against it.
Well, this is clearly an outgrowth of what you were studying in your research for the book as well. So tell me why you decided to participate. And I think it is related to what you were working on Doudna's research. And she just was awarded the Nobel Prize for it.
Right. The CRISPR and the genetic editing revolution that we're just starting right now is based on RNA, which became my favorite molecule. Jennifer Doudna, Emmanuelle Charpentier, the winners of the Nobel Prize, were able to use RNA as a guide to take a scissors and cut up our genes so we could edit our genes. RNA, of course, is probably that molecule that started life on this planet. So I was always interested in it. And when I read that vaccines were being developed that didn't use the old viruses to try to stimulate your immune system, but used RNA, I was down in New Orleans where I live, and I just went online and signed up for the trial at Ochsner Hospital down there. Partly just the way you like to be involved in things. I mean, there's no bravery here. I mean, this thing is totally safe. But just like you do jury duty or maybe vote or whatever it may be, the notion of participating in a clinical trial is something we all can do. And it also helps get your mind around science. You get a better feeling for, here's how they're studying this. And, every day I'd fill out a little diary on my iPhone and send it in. And you'd say, okay, I get how this works. This is how science works. We ought to have faith in it.
How has participating informed your writing of the book? Or maybe the book was nearly done when you started this, but it strikes me, I was talking to you when you were doing the Einstein book and Da Vinci. I mean, you get so involved in these wonderful scientific details and you explain it so clearly to people. Maybe you could help explain messenger RNA to us.
Well, messenger RNA is just the main thing that RNA does in our body. Everybody loves DNA. It's sort of the famous brother in the pair. But RNA is a sibling that actually does the work. It takes the coding from the DNA, which stays hunkered down in the nucleus of our cell, and it goes to that region of our cell where proteins are built. So what a messenger RNA is just the RNA that takes that message from the DNA in your nucleus and says, build this protein. And the cool thing about it, in a vaccine like Pfizer, Moderna, and others that are using genetic vaccines, and that's what this revolution this year is happening. We're going to this new type of genetic vaccine. What that does is it can be reprogrammed every time a new virus comes along. Because even after we defeat this coronavirus, which I think we'll be doing this spring with the vaccines that will come online, there are going to be more viruses that will hit us, more coronaviruses and other types of viruses. The cool thing about an RNA-type vaccine is that even a college biology student in a lab could recode it and say, okay, now attack this or create an immune system for this new virus. All you have to do is type in the new genetic code of what you're trying to inoculate against. And so to me, it's ushering in an era, we all talk about our kids wanting to learn digital coding. Well, they're going to be joined by people who learn the code of life.
This is so fascinating. Just briefly, what happens if you did get the placebo? Do you have access to the vaccine itself?
Yeah, I think that I talked to Francis Collins and Anthony Fauci, because that's the joy of being a reporter. And they have a bioethics panel at the National Institutes of Health that comes up with what happens in each case. So if I'm in the placebo group and the vaccine's approved, they unblind me once it gets approved, and I'm offered the regular vaccine.
Well, it's just fascinating, and I'm hoping that this can, with the distribution, still reach the underserved communities, such as many of the people in your town of New Orleans, rather than being, unequally distributed.
This is why it's really important what everybody's doing is figuring out how we get this out there. But I think there are going to be a lot of doses of this vaccine. My biggest worry is that people in all communities, underserved and overserved, are going to resist this vaccine. Don't do it. Believe in the science.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.